Good morning, Restoration Church. My name's Laura, and I'm here with Vanessa, and we're here to tell you about a really awesome opportunity that our church has to get involved in the community. One of the values at Restoration Church is value the culture of neighboring, and that just means to come alongside our community in long-term ways to be able to share the gospel and meet the needs of that community. It's something that we really believe is important to be as part of our church. So we have Vanessa here who's going to share a little bit about the organization that she's a part of and how we can get involved. So hi, Vanessa.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we're really excited. So I'm just going to ask you what Safe Families is, who you are, and how you got involved. Just share a little bit about your story.
Sure. So my name is Vanessa Ploc, and I am the Regional Director for Safe Families Kitchener-Waterloo. We're just one side of a multi-site national nonprofit. We're a Christian nonprofit called Safe Families Canada. So my region is Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge, and then some of the surrounding areas, but primarily Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge. Yes.
Awesome. So what is it that Safe Families does?
So what Safe Families does is we come around families and moms and children and vulnerable people who are in crisis to surround them with caring, compassionate communities. So we do that by a bunch of different volunteer roles. We build circles around people that include volunteer roles of host families, family coaches, family friends, resource friends, to further strengthen and support a family, with the goal being to deflect children from the child welfare system, to strengthen families, to keep families intact, and then to bring the church back to her rightful place as a light in the community, and to care for the orphan and the widow among us, as we're commanded to do. So,
wow, yeah. That's awesome. That's great. You mentioned a little bit about the circles. Could you expand that a little bit and just explain like what those steps are, I guess, or those roles? And what that looks like for someone if they get involved in Safe Families? Sure.
So a circle, like I said, consists of 4 different roles. The first role is what we call a host family role. And what a host family would do was to agree to temporarily take a child into their home for a short period of time. Generally in this area, it's about, I would say, 4 to 5 days, but it can be as little as a day to as long as 3 months' time. Take that child temporarily into their home to allow the parents a break from parenting to be able to deal with whatever crisis has brought them to Safe Families in the first place. So we all know how difficult parenting is and what a struggle it can be sometimes at the best of times, right? Children are children. And so host family really allows that family a chance to just take a deep breath and to work on their goals that they're working on, to be able to bring their child back to that safer, stronger environment. And then we have what we call a family coach. And a family coach is somebody who comes alongside. It's sort of a dual role, actually. If there is a child in a hosting, a family coach will check in with the host family, check in with the child, make sure everything's safe, everybody's well-resourced. If there's any problems that arise, help them to problem solve. And then also walks with what we call a placing parent. And they walk with that parent, helping them to decide on goals, helping to achieve their goals, to looking for outside community resources. So that's really sort of the role of a family coach. And then a family friend is just that. It's a friend, and anybody can be a friend. We're all friends to somebody, right? So a friend is somebody who agrees to spend an hour a week with a family, texting, talking, meeting for coffee, pre and post COVID, hopefully. They can do mentorship, just check in, provide encouragement, support. They can do, an hour of babysitting if mom has an appointment, or they can offer a drive to appointments. Just anything that you would do with your friend, and it starts out slow, but then, as you become better friends, the relationship takes on a life of its own. And then we have what we call resource friends. And a resource friend is somebody who agrees to provide either goods or services or financial backing. So a resource friend could be somebody who is willing to donate diapers or formula or a bed or a couch or something like that, or somebody who has a service to offer. Like we have some hairdressers who offer free haircuts to our families. We have a postpartum doula who volunteers her services for a couple of the new families who have just had babies. So anybody like that who has some kind of a professional service that they can offer, carpentry, house fixing, those types of things. So, and that would be a resource friend. And then all those roles combined together would create a circle. So, and there's a variety of ways we create circles. You can either join up on your own, and just say, oh, I want to be a host family, or I want to be a family coach, or things like that. Or you can come as a group. So your life group could come, or your friend group could come, or your babysitting group. Sorry, there's no babysitting group. A group of you could come together. Sunday school group, whatever. That's what I was trying to think of, I think. A Sunday school group could come together, and they could choose within themselves who wanted to take on each role, and then that group could agree to support a family for a year.
So you mentioned a year. So is that like the commitment for how long a circle comes together around a specific family?
We would like that commitment to last a year. Obviously, there might be some instances where that doesn't happen. Really, the whole goal of Safe Families is that people who are isolated, people who don't have community, will be able to look at people, or not look at people, but have people who have come around them in volunteer roles become like extended family to them. So it's really a long-term thing. We're sure Safe Families is involved in the beginning, but only to set up relationship. And then we hope that relationship continues long past the need for Safe Families and the goals that we set are even needed. So
yeah, that's really great. I think because like a passion, I think, of our church, and that should be of people who are following Jesus, is to become that for people, a community, a place that you can rely on, not
That's
just for
right,
like
yeah.
a specific amount of time, but to do life with them. And that's something that has really been on our hearts as a church. So this is a really awesome opportunity to get connected in this way. So it sounds awesome, but also I know a lot of people are probably thinking, wow, that sounds like really intense, or there's just a lot to it. Are there going to be people that come alongside me, or is there training involved, or how can I be like equipped the best way? And then also the second follow-up question is, who can actually do this? Like, do you have to be a certain age? Do you have to be married? What does it look like to get involved, and who qualifies to do that?
So to answer your second question first, everybody can do something. There's something, and that's the beauty of Safe Families, I think, is that there's something for everybody to do. Families can do this ministry with their children in homes as host families. Single people can be family friends. We can, or even host families. I mean, it really depends on your own life circumstance. So there's no, we have grandparents who have their children, their grown children are out of the house who take in teenagers. Pretty much any kind of age group. And then in terms of training, and if you need anything special, we provide all of that for you. So there's an application process, there's a reference process. We get vulnerable sector checks, obviously, because we're working with children and vulnerable adults. And then we provide training, which is done in one of two ways. We can do training through our community hub, which is all online, so you can do it at your own convenience or when you have time. Or we have also just launched Canada-wide Zoom training as well, which is really cool. So every second month, there's a family friend training, and then the opposite month, there's a host family training. So that's proven to be a really cool way to get together with other like-minded people who are interested in the ministry. And even if you end up not volunteering, it's a cool thing to even just go take the training and learn a little bit more about what it's all about. So.
And then just one question, just in the context of COVID, how have you found that to be just in this organization, and what like that shift has happened, and how that would look for people volunteering, I guess?
We've had a little bit of a shift. In the beginning, when we didn't really know a lot about COVID, people were very reluctant to go into people's homes, and that understandably, because we didn't really know what was going on. So we shifted a lot of our focus then to delivering food. A lot of families were really food insecure in the beginning and that kind of stuff too. But as safety measures have come into place, and we've learned more about COVID, and we've learned about social distancing and masks and that, we have allowed our volunteers to sort of decide for themselves what is most comfortable with them. So some of our volunteers will go into people's houses. They wear masks and social distance. Other volunteers are more comfortable just to do it on phone calls and texting and that type of thing. So either way is fine. Host families, we do a little mini screening, obviously a couple of hours before the kids come into the home, and then with the family and with the placing family as well. So there are measures in place, and of course everybody's a volunteer, so we don't expect anybody to do something that they're not comfortable with.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
I hope that this has maybe spoken to some of you listening. Yeah, it's been really awesome to get to know Vanessa and hear a bit more about this organization and to see a way that restoration can definitely come alongside families and people who are in need in our community. We are a church that is eager to do that, and so we're excited about that. So we're also aware of the weight of what this is. This is not just showing up for one volunteer Saturday for a church, for an event we run. This is a long-term commitment, which is what the gospel is all about. But we do see the weight of that, and we want to encourage you, if this has touched you in any way, or even if it hasn't, to really pray about this, to see if this is something that God is calling your family to, or even if you're a single person, there's room for everyone to help. So our desire is that we would be able to, as a church, either form a circle or get people connected to join a circle. But what we're going to actually have is tonight we have our worship night at Temple. It's at 6 p.m. And Vanessa's actually going to be there in person. So she will be there to connect with you. She'll bring some applications, she said, in case anybody is eager. And just to answer questions, or if you have any concerns, she is there to answer anything that we didn't cover today or go in more depth. And I think it'll be a really awesome opportunity. We're really excited to see you tonight and be able to be together as a family, and also to hear more about Safe Families and what we can do to get involved. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, Vanessa.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. And if anybody would like to go, we do have a web page at safefamiliescanada.com, so people can look for information there too before they come if they're interested.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're
and thanks,
welcome.
guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see you tonight.